recorded lesson, and that's because this afternoon, live, we're going to meet and have a chat and talk about the very exciting news that we're all going to be back together again in school next week. So today's English is another look at Cora and the Storm Wolf, the suspense writing, the piece of writing that we have as a model text and we're using to further our understanding of this type of writing. So our LO, to deepen our understanding of the text, to once again really look at a model text so we can understand how it works and how we can take ideas and inspiration from it. And we're thinking about reading as a writer. Because anything that you read, any story that you read at home, in actual fact, not just books, films that you watch and TV shows you see, anything like this inspires the author in you. You take ideas from what you read. And we take it from the stories we read, we take it from the stories that are read to us, and we also take inspiration and ideas from the model text that we use to inspire our work in talk writing. And Cora and the Storm Wolf is designed to give you guys some skills, some clues. That's why I wrote it in the first place. So your mission today is to explore, almost like a word safari, explore and investigate Cora and the Storm Wolf. The resources online are a copy of Cora and the Storm Wolf model text and the instructions. And the only thing that you will need today is different coloured pens or pencils, because I want you to go through and underline or highlight finding different families of words and different skills that have been used by the author, in this case the author being me. So let's have a look. First level of challenge, hot and spicy. Hot and spicy is a word safari where I would like you to go through Cora and the Storm Wolf and find adjectives, verbs, adverbs and similes. And I have chosen some colours for each of these different word families, and I would then, if I printed off the model text, I would go through and highlight or underline or draw circles around the right words, and I might draw myself a little key so that I knew that, in my case, green equals adjectives. But you might use different colours, so you don't have to use the same colours here. These are just the ones that I had on my computer. So, adjectives, describing words. Are there describing words in Cora and the Storm Wolf? Well, yes, there are. But from this extract here, I've highlighted sharp. Sharp is a describing word, it's an adjective, so I highlighted it green. Verbs, doing words. I used quite a lot of verbs in Cora and the Storm Wolf. So please look through carefully and see if you can spot them. Verbs, doing words, just think for a minute, can I do that thing? And if you can do it, then it's a verb. As you can see there, I've got growled in the past tense. I've got crouching in the present tense, where she could escape from. These are all things that you can do. Adverbs. An adverb adds information to a verb. That's why it's called an adverb. It describes a verb. They often, but don't always, end in ly. And I know that there are some ly words in Cora and the Storm Wolf, although there aren't any actually in this paragraph here that I've copied onto the slide. So you can't see any purple highlight there because there wasn't an adverb in that part of the story. And the final thing of hot and spicy, I want you to see if you can spot, have I used any similes? How many have I used? And any others for you to find? Because I have highlighted one here that is in yellow. And you can see that the yellow and the green are kind of mixed together. That's because there's an adjective in the simile. A simile is a way of describing something by comparing it to something else. They'll have the key words as or like, saying that something was sharp like a cat's claws, or as sharp as a cat's claws. Have I used similes? A skill that you guys are amazing at using, but did I use any in this model text? So, hot and spicy, 4 different coloured pens or pencils, going through carefully and seeing what you can spot. How many adjectives can you find? And choose a colour to make them all the same. How many verbs, how many adverbs, and how many similes? You may not find all of them, but it's good practice and it's great spag to keep learning what adjectives, verbs, adverbs and similes are. Next challenge, the Mega Hot Challenge. And the Mega Hot Challenge starts with the hot and spicy. You start doing the hot and spicy, the Mega Hot adds on top of it. Because once, if you have found a decent amount of verbs and adjectives, adverbs and similes, and you want another challenge, well, can you then choose 2 more different colours? Your piece of work will be very colourful by the end of this. And can you find personification, where human verbs have been used to describe non-human things, where the background, the setting has come alive, where I pretended that a thing was a person and used human words to describe it. Also an ellipsis. An ellipsis we think of as the dum 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 punctuation effect, which is really useful when we're doing suspense writing because it makes the reader wonder what on earth could happen next. So for Mega Hot, by this point, if you've printed off the piece, the model text, you will have 6 different colours here. You will have adjectives, verbs, adverbs, similes, personification, and an ellipsis or 2 if you can find them. Lots going on in a rainbow of a model text. And Are You Nuts? Well, Are You Nuts similarly adds another level of challenge. You still start with hot and spicy, then you go for Mega Hot, but if you want even more colour, even more rainbow, well, at this point now we need 2 more extra colours, and I think now you've got about 8 different coloured pens or pencils maybe. You might at this point be running out of colours and go, right, well, I'm going to have to underline this one and draw a circle around this one or a box around this one, and you are going to have a very colourful piece of work in front of you. Now, the 2 skills that I want you to look at if you want to attempt the Are You Nuts are 2 skills that we have already looked at. The skill of empty words. Have I used words like it, the shadow, a shape, a silhouette, a noise, a creature, a monster, a beast, rather than say exactly what the monster is? Have I used these empty words to add uncertainty, unsureness to the reader? Because we know how humans work. We are more scared of something we're not sure of than we are of something that we can 100% see. A rustle in the bushes is scarier, strangely, than a werewolf jumping out at you. The rustle is the scary bit. Can you spot any empty words that I have used? And the last skill I wanted to look for was showing, not telling. And this skill, and it's a skill that broadly applies to lots of different types of writing, is the skill that an author uses so that they're not telling the reader how a character feels, they're showing it instead. If I'm writing a happy story, I can say that a character in my story is happy. She was happy. But I can show it more effectively by showing that character being happy. Rather than say she was happy, I can say she smiled warmly and chuckled. By giving that character those actions, those reactions of happiness, it's more realistic and much more effective. Are there places where I've shown how Cora feels rather than just saying Cora was scared? At this point, if you do all these challenges and you have 8 different colours going on, you'll find that sometimes you might want to underline a word with 2 different colours because you could have an adjective in a simile, which is absolutely fine. And if it does look a bit crazy, if it does look like a rainbow has exploded on your model text, then that is absolutely fine, because we often find that we mix together our skills as writers. There's even more challenge for you. There's one extra challenge if you would like to have a go at. And you can do this extra challenge even if you haven't done Mega Hot and Are You Nuts? If you did hot and spicy, but you still wanted to jump to this extra challenge, I would be super impressed, because this extra challenge really is what you guys and your reading should be about. My final challenge is for you to choose a sentence that you liked from the model text. We are authors. We should always be thinking about what we like and what we don't like in the things that we read, because if we like something, then we can take that idea and we might be able to use it to improve our own writing. We at this point, and you are young authors, you are meant to borrow ideas from the people that you read. You're meant to borrow ideas from me. You're meant to borrow ideas from the famous authors that you enjoy. That's how you will develop your own style as writers. If there was one sentence in Cora and the Storm Wolf that you read and you thought, I like that. I like the way that worked. That is a skill that I want to borrow. Tell me about it. Underline the sentence that you liked and then write down and tell me why you liked it. You could just write it at the bottom of the model text if you printed it out. Why did you like that sentence? And that is tricky because sometimes you find yourself saying, I don't know why I liked it. I like the words. I like the sound. Writing is an art and we like it and we respond to it, and sometimes it's very difficult to explain why we like or dislike something. But I'd love you guys to have a go, because after all, that's what great writers do. They learn from each other. I learn from you guys, and hopefully you learn from me too. Now, if you haven't printed off the model text at home, then you won't be able to underline and highlight and do that rainbow explosion thing. So instead, on the top of the worksheet on the website, I've explained how you could collect your ideas instead by, on a piece of scrap paper, writing down adjective and then underlining it in any colour you liked, and then collecting the adjectives you find underneath. So it's a little bit more work, but as we know, the more work we do, we are still practicing our handwriting and improving our handwriting. So, reading as a writer, exploring this text, spotting the skills and the language families that are used. Start on hot and spicy, and then, if you're up for a challenge, keep going. Go through mega hot, adding more colours, go through Are You Nuts, adding more colours, and at the end, have a go at the extra bonus challenge. What did you like about Cora and the Storm Wolf? Why did you like it? What will it help you with as a writer and as an author? Right, I will see you all very, very soon. I missed you guys.